Well, hi, and welcome back to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today we are here with my friend Nick from the Plate Spinning Academy and Reclaim Your Home. Hi, Nick. I'm so happy you're here today.
Thank you so much, Ash, for having me on your podcast. I'm very happy to be here.
So, listeners, you may have heard the episode with Don Baxter, I don't know, a few weeks back, whenever it was. But Nick is part of the Multi Potentialite Dream Squad, and all the girls are actually going to be on the podcast coming up. And I'm just so excited because all of us, I guess I'll include myself, we all have pretty amazing stories to share with people, amazing experience, and just I think it's just become a very special group, and so I'm just really excited to talk with all of you, get to know you, share all the great things about you. And so, do you want to tell us a little bit about how plate spinning, how everything got started?
I will do. It's a bit of a story. Okay, so I am mum in a big blended family, and when I say big, I mean there's a lot of children. Now we've actually only got two at home at the moment, but over the last 10 years, we've had up to 8 or 9 people living in the house at any one time. And that isn't everybody. So about 10 years ago, my partner's children lost their mum quite suddenly. And we were suddenly thrown into chaos with raising the five youngest because he has 8 children. I have two, although they were a little bit older. And the five youngest, we were then caring for them full time, 24/7, dealing with them all being different ages from the age of 2 up to like 10, managing all those kind of emotions and everything. And I'm just being thrown into absolute chaos overnight. My house wasn't set up for kind of having them full time because we were just having them at the weekends. So all of a sudden we're dealing with all of this stuff, and we got a lot of support at the time, but it was just absolute chaos. It's this massive life curveball suddenly gets thrown in. Anyway, so kind of, a little while, a little further down the line, we get ourselves organized and we managed to put routines in place. There was a lot of food issues going on. They wouldn't eat this, somebody wouldn't eat that. They were all wanting different stuff, and it had to bring it all together, to be able to do this, to be able to kind of bring some kind of balance and some kind of peace and harmony back to the house. I really had to nail the housework, get the menu plans in place, all of that. And while we're doing this, we're also running a business each. Myself,
Right.
and he was my partner at the time, and now my husband. So he had his business and I had my business, and then we're suddenly trying to, do everything, spin all of the plates.
Mm.
So that's where plate spinning was born. I mean, I've used the plate spinning analogy for 2 decades, I think, for 20 years, over 20 years. And when I thought I was busy in the past, and this was nothing compared to turmoil that we were thrown into 10 years ago. So kind of times moved on, we moved house, we were getting straight, and it was just relentless. People think that after a period of time that everything is okay and everything goes back to being normal, whatever that is. When you're dealing with bereaved children, it's as they grow and mature, they have a new level of understanding each time.
Right.
So it feels like we're then having to go through all of this kind of grief again, the bereavement again, and having to manage that with so many children, all different ages, and then as they're growing. And it was just becoming so massive that we almost lost ourselves. It's so hard to kind of stay grounded when all of this is going on. And what people used to say to me was, oh my goodness, how on earth do you manage it? How do you do that? I don't know how you manage. And I had comments like, well, it's a good job you've got broad shoulders. The thing is, my shoulders are no broader than anybody else's. And from this started to come this, well, how am I managing? How am I getting to do this? And I realized actually I had these kind of logistical and organizational skills that I just took for granted. And I thought everybody else had them, and maybe they don't. So I started to then look at, well, can I offer this as, could I coach and mentor people? And over the years, it's kind of developed from helping people at home, with just getting organized at home, to getting organised at home and running a business, because I'm a business owner and it's hard. We can't just take time off. We can't just have holiday pay. We don't get sick pay. We have to work everything around, what we're doing. So it was about managing all of that. And suddenly I realized I am spinning all of these plates and making sure they don't fall to the ground. And unfortunately, in early 2020, it was just before the pandemic. It was like about the January. I actually had a heart attack at 45, which is a really young age to be having a heart attack. And it was down to the amount of stress that I was under. And that put paid to my old work. So at the time I was upcycling furniture, I was reselling vintage items. I was in my element because I absolutely loved it. And because it was such a physical job, I had to just stop what I was doing straight away and I had to rest. Then the pandemic happened and everybody else was at home. I felt like everybody else had come to stay home with me while I got better. So 2020 was all about recovery, but also I started to put things in place to turn this into an online business. And kind of 4 years on, this is where 4 or 5, it's nearly 5 years now, isn't it? Wow, where's that gone? This is where I'm at. Platespinning Academy was born from actually quite a massive curveball that happened 10 years ago. But I'm using my experience now and my skills to support other business owners who might be struggling with managing to run their home and their business and look after themselves and not hit burnout, which is obviously what I did. So I'm taking all of the mistakes that I made and packaging them up and supporting other people to make sure that you don't kind of follow suit, because it's really hard to come back from burnout once you've hit that. It's so much harder to come back than it is to actually get there in the first place. So, I mean, that's probably the shortest that I can kind of squeeze that story into. There's a lot gone on. That was just like a brief overview. We've had lots and lots of things happening. But I guess I've just built up resilience over the years and I just get on with it and I find ways. And when we come up against blocks and we come up against problems, I navigate them. We just get on.
Yeah. First of all, I'm sitting here going like, I have trouble with just having one child in the house. And I'm like, how you navigated that. I think it's just mind blowing. It's
Yeah.
incredible. I, you know, I think some of it is, I'm sure you've heard it before too, and maybe in different ways than I have, but people always will say to me, "Oh gosh, you're so strong," and blah, blah, blah. Sometimes it does come down to it's survival and you make it work because you have to. And yeah, you learn a hell of a lot going through whatever it may be, something like loss or divorce, or maybe it's having an influx of five additional children you didn't plan for. It's amazing. I think we forget too how adaptable human
Human
people
people.
can be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we are pretty amazing. I'm exhausted hearing about all that you have been up to.
It's big. It's big. And when I tell people that story, quite often they're just kind of, oh wow. And then they have nothing to say because they don't know what to say. Meanwhile, I've moved on in the conversation and they're still a little bit shocked at just how big it's been. It's been
Yeah.
big. It's been big. I won't kind of underestimate, just how massive it's been. It was one heck of a curveball that was thrown, and the impact of it has gone widespread. It's affected so many people, and we've been in the middle of it, trying to kind of remain kind of solid, like keep those foundations going and make sure the kids are okay and that they at least have, as good a quality of childhood as they could possibly have had given what had happened.
Yeah.
You're right, it's just about being in survival mode, but at some point you've got to move from survival And then for me, it's about thriving afterwards. It's
Yes.
about not living this life of, oh, this big thing happened and oh, and that's dictated the rest of my life and we're never going to be happy and we're always going to be, we're always going to be dealing with this big heavy cloud. And we acknowledge it. It's there. The big heavy cloud is there, but you find ways of dealing with it and you still are able to find joy in it every day, regardless of, what gets thrown at you. Resilience, it's helped me to gain is I did never expect it to be such in such a good position mental health wise. The resilience is at the top of its game at the moment. If this had have happened to me kind of 20, 30 years ago, that might have been a very different story. And I don't think that I've coped with it.
Right. That's, yeah. I mean, and yeah, you're right. You will build resilience. I think that is also where people they do get really, really stuck, right? They just want to, not that they consciously want to stay there, but they will stay stuck in that trauma and in that cycle of just pain and convinced that it'll never get better, it'll never get easier. And then I think yeah, when you can separate yourself from it and then kind of take a step back and look. I think it's really important that we kind of take stock on like what we've done. I like to do it at least once a year. And I guess we're in December right now, so I always like to do it. There's a few times a year I really like to do it, but coming to the end of a year especially, it's a great time to look back and in some ways you sit there. I mean, this is on a much smaller scale obviously, but you go like, what even happened this year? What have I actually done this year? And then you look back and you can start counting all the things, and then you realize that actually you have a lot more success. You are far more resilient. You are far more powerful. You're striving to make that little 1% better all the time. And it
Yeah,
happens. It happens.
it does. I'm a very different person to who I was even 12 months ago.
Me too.
And year on year we just build and we become better. And for me, again, my health dipped again in January of this year, so this year is for me, it was slower than I was hoping for business wise, but it forced me to focus on me, to focus on my health, to make sure that I'm not burning out again, because I'm just of that kind of mindset that I've just got to keep going, I've got to keep doing,
Yes,
I've got to stay busy. And it is a thing. It's a thing. I see it with so many business owners. We literally don't have an off switch.
we don't. And I think, yeah, I mean, it drives me crazy sometimes. I'm sure it drives my boyfriend crazy too, because I just don't have the off switch until I hit the wall in the evening, and it's like, okay, but I mean, if I'm into something, I'll just keep going until
Yeah.
it's finished, and I'm like, what food? What?
Yeah, you
What
forget to eat.
people? Burnout is. I do enjoy talking about burnout because it was only kind of recently that I realized that it can take you years to overcome burnout. I truly didn't know, and burnout is not, as I'm sure you're well aware,
Yeah.
not something you can just go for a week to Hawaii and you'll be better. That's not how it works.
There's been two big instances in my life where it's taken me 4 years to recover. So about 2003, um, had a very busy job, and I got like a virus that you get around about autumn, winter time. But I never picked up from it. I never got better. And I ended up with ME, or chronic fatigue, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And it was so bad that I just had to quit my job. I just couldn't manage my job anymore. And it took me 4 years from stopping work to getting back into employment. And this time round, interestingly, I've struggled since 2020 with my health still. And interestingly, this year, around about April time, which would have been about 4 years, things have
Mm-hmm.
started to pick up again. And I'm actually feeling better now than I have done in the last 5 years, which is fantastic news for me. But it seems to be that I'm on this 4 year cycle of, like, if I hit burnout, it's 4 years, four
Yeah.
years out of my life. And I worked out those two big times when I burnt out big time, that what did I work it out at? I worked it out at a percentage of my adult life. Something like 20% of my adult life was spent recovering from burnout. And that's not
Like,
great.
well, that's it. In the nicest way. What a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's, it is.
Oh, 25%, sorry. 25%. I've just worked it
Yeah.
out. 25% of my adult life has been spent recovering from burnout.
It's, it's mind blowing. Just, we shouldn't be, we shouldn't have to get to that point. And I say, and so I think I say have to because I think there are circumstances that you do just get that pressure, right? From your work or from your life, everything else in life, that you do just kind of get forced down that path in some ways. I mean, it's awful. I know. I feel in some ways I'm still in recovery mode from a job I had in Canada like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, not to mention everything else that's gone on the past 5 years. It's like, it's very, very difficult to get over it. And I think too, it is that kind of, I think it's like that deep inner work and deep healing that has to happen. Like like you say, it's not just a trip to Spain or
Mm.
Hawaii or whatever for a week. It's so much more, and really understanding how to care for yourself with your nutrition and with your sleep and finding things to nourish your creativity and your artistic side, your mind, have that social connection. There's so many pieces of this puzzle that I think work and life just kind of cracks it all up and then takes it away. And so you have to like fit those little pieces back together to like heal your body and your mind and your soul.
Yeah. It's there are so many facets to recovery. One of the big things for me has been getting involved in working with a naturopath.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been ongoing now for 4 years. And I take herbs every day, and I take certain supplements, and that's helped massively for my body to get to a point where I can manage, my body can manage kind of everyday life, because at one point it just wasn't functioning at all. It was, and I was really concerned that that was it for me. That is this what my life is going to be? Am I going to be confined to, having to use a walking stick all the time? Am I going to end up in a wheelchair? I just couldn't function. I felt so unwell. And you have got to. Many years ago, when I had chronic fatigue, they were telling me at the time, it's in your mind to get better. And there was a bit of an argument about it, but I understand it now,
Mm-hmm.
that you've got to change your mindset. If you want to get better, you have to change the way that you think, because you have to change your behaviors. You have
Mm-hmm.
to support yourself. You have to parent yourself, to get better. And you have to learn patience. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big one for me. I'm not a patient person. But
I
yeah,
think
look,
I am, but then there's certain things I'm not patient. I'm like,
it is frustrating when your brain's like wanting to do the things, and your body is not letting you. And I'm happy to say now that I think I'm pretty much there now. And what I can do now is start to really focus on my health properly. I feel like I'm at that level now where I feel like normal. I feel like myself again. That only
so
happened this
good.
year.
That's
Yeah.
That's really, really good. I haven't had any major health anything my entire life. I mean, I have asthma since forever. I have awful sinuses. That's about it.
There's still a lot to deal with, though, if it's ongoing, definitely.
But it's also funny because it's been like truly forever, so I don't really know any different. So I'm like, I don't know. I think this is just what life is. But yeah, there's certain things. But okay. So on a different side, it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but running has really helped my asthma. a lot of people, and I mean, it's just trying to strengthen your lungs, right? But running, so great for it. And, disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying this is like, it's
It's worked
actually
for
helped
you.
me a lot. And
It's worked for you, yeah.
yeah, and in certain things like that, I've always had a pretty good diet. I was like that weird kid that came home from school and ate vegetables. Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't me.
I mean, I'm not saying I didn't eat like a bunch of junk too, but we didn't really have much in the house. So, like cinnamon toast, pizza pops, which we don't have here in England, but they're in Canada. So, all the Canadians will know a pizza pop.
Pizza pops, okay.
Yeah, don't eat them. They're actually so gross. But, but otherwise, yeah, I've always been like quite healthy diet. I was a smoker for quite a long time, but other than that, I mean, yeah, I feel pretty lucky with my health. And I have wrist pain pretty much constantly, but that's about it. And overall, I feel very, very lucky. And I try not to take it for granted how great I do feel most days. But I do think it is, you're right, it is mindset. A lot of it will having that healthy mind and, yeah, you're right, kind of urging yourself to get better. That will
Yeah.
make the difference.
And one of the things I've had to learn is that with regards to being patient is, oh, I'm feeling better. I can go and do that now. I can go and do that thing that I'm going to go and do that job that has been sat there waiting for ages. And you can't do it. You've
Yep.
really got to pace yourself. And I think this time, I think I've got it. I think I'm about there. The problem, exceeding your personal limits is and hitting burnout is you don't know that you've gone past your limit until you've gone past your limit.
Yep.
And I was taking my health for granted a few years ago, and I would work. I loved my work, and I would work all of the time to the point where I would only stop work when I was absolutely exhausted. So I would be working in an evening, and then it's like, actually, I can't stand up anymore because I'm so tired. I need to go to bed now, and I didn't stop. And what I should have done is put a proper evening routine into place, put some boundaries in place. I didn't have any boundaries with regards to working. I had a little workroom at home at the time, and we'd sit and watch TV. And when the TV ad break would come on, I'm just going to go and nip and do that thing for 2 minutes, and then I'll be back. And I would never switch off from it.
Mm.
And I can see now what the pattern was. And then if I could kind of, hindsight's a great thing, go back and tell Nick from kind of 5, 6 years ago, sit down, take a break, pace yourself. There's a
Mhm.
good chance that, that I wouldn't have had a heart attack. There was a lot of contributing factors for it, but one of them is, part of my makeup. I've had my DNA checked.
Right.
As part of my treatment with my naturopath, she does kind of DNA profiling for looking at what your cells are doing, what your DNA is doing, what your makeup is. So where some of us are more susceptible to certain, illnesses and diseases,
Yeah.
and also patterns. And I officially don't have an off switch. It's in my DNA. I don't have an off switch.
I want to find out if I have an off switch because, I mean, I don't think I need a test to say no. But
It's just to confirm it.
but even if I'm like doing relaxing things, if we're like listening to records, I'm thinking about, well, this is a good time to like draft up some newsletters, or this is a good time to, take photos to list some products online, or, you know, but it's like, no, just off. And honestly, I don't know if you've listened to many other episodes, but I have talked about it often. Thank goodness for my boyfriend, because I will turn off because I get that reminder.
Yes.
You need to sit down. You
Yes.
need to sleep. You need to do this. And it's like, what? Oh yeah, okay. I can do that now. And I'm sure for him it's sometimes very infuriating to watch me just like working, and whether it's on the house, whether it's my business, whether it's going to my part-time job or whatever, I'm sure sometimes it's very tough to see me just not stop working.
Yeah, that must be really frustrating for him. I can just about get my head around that. I know that the only time that my brain is quiet is when I'm crafting and creating. So
Mm,
in the evening, if I really do need to, I'm like, I definitely need to stop and I need to stop thinking about everything. I'll pick up my knitting,
yeah.
or I'll do so, I'll do something. I make a bit of jewelry. I just do something with my hands, and I just focus on that repetitive behavior, that repetitive action, and that at that point my brain quietens. There's
Mm.
nothing, and I need that. That's my kind of meditation, is to make something, to craft something, create.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. See, and I still find myself being, even though I work with people and talk to them about creating your safe space for creativity and making time and blah blah blah, I am the worst person for that. Some of the things I love to do, I have like these little coloring books and I love them. I got like a Beatles coloring book
All
and
right.
like a 60s coloring book, and they're so cool. And well, thanks again to the boyfriend. But and so I love doing that, or like putting on records and just like kind of doodling with my pens.
Yeah.
I like this. I should get a product sponsorship for Uniball eye black pens because I don't think we can see them properly, but I've been using these for like 20 years and they
Yeah.
are best
The
pens.
Uniball ones, that's good because I got some new ones. They're not Uniball. I've got about three different types. They're similar to what you've got
No, but
there.
this is the specific one because there's a whole bunch of different Uniball ones. These are the ones.
Yeah.
If it's not these ones, no. But those ones,
You'll
magic.
have to let me know which one it is and I'll
Check out my Amazon affiliate link. No, just kidding. I actually don't. I just don't have one anymore. But yeah, I should do because they're so good though, and I like them for writing and I like them for drawing and things like that. And so, but just doodling with pens and whatever while I'm listening to records, that's like a really fun, nice outlet for me. Writing is, just creative writing and things like that. But not always, I often feel I'm going to get these things done and then I will do the creative stuff. But that is the wrong way to do it
yeah.
because I can always find something to do.
Oh, I used to use it as a reward. Like, oh, get the housework done, get that finished, and then you can have your creative time. But if we build that creative time in, rather than using it as a reward, if we're just building that in anyway, everything will get done, that needs to get done. We don't need to do all the
Yes.
housework.
I think that's the other thing I've become like a lot more relaxed about because I was very like either on a Friday night or a Saturday morning, you clean. I like doing Friday nights because then it's done and you have the whole weekend, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, my schedule is truthfully quite erratic, which you know, whatever. That is what it is right now.
Hmm.
But I don't panic anymore if the dusting did not get done one weekend. I can't live like that anymore. It's too much. And there's too many other things to do that
Absolutely.
are probably a little more important. Mind you, I can't leave it too long with the asthma, but
No, I guess not. Well, this year I've stopped kind of getting rid of the cobwebs. And as a result, yes, we've got more spiders in the house, but we had less flies over summer. Bonus. So that
see,
was my excuse.
I'm
I'm
like,
giving the spiders a home and they're keep and they keep. So I'm just gonna leave them there. And something I had to give this year. It was like I can't do everything.
yeah,
And the housework has taken a dip, and I'm absolutely okay with that. The housework rota big housework rota for the year that I've got is great because you can stick to it if you want to, but if you miss something, you don't have to play catch up. You
right.
just get it next time that it's on the rota. And I've
Ah,
designed it that way to release the kind of pressure of, oh, I haven't done that this week. I need to catch up. I've got things set in it so many times that if you miss it, it doesn't matter. It's just about keeping on top of it.
I that's really smart.
Mm,
But you've got all these little hacks anyway for
yeah.
organizing your life.
I mean, some of them are quite extreme. Like I said, a year's worth of housework is, and it's everything.
Right.
It's not just the dusting and the vacuuming. It's cleaning the tops of, those horrible jobs that you always forget about. And
Yeah.
then after 6 months, you go, oh, that's not been done.
But that's fine because he'll catch it next time.
Yeah. So like stuff like cleaning the tops of your kitchen cupboards, because if you don't touch those, they're going to be a mess, but they'll need doing at some point.
I'll just
So
say life hack. Get them extended so there's no gaps on top.
I don't know. That is
That's that's what I did.
exactly. Exactly, exactly. Get rid of your horizontal surfaces as much as possible. Definitely. I've got our bedside table lampshades are this kind of conical shape,
Yeah.
and I'm going to replace them for straight ones because they're not going to catch the dust as much.
It's interesting. I
Yeah,
have ones that are just like glass ball, kind of frosted glass ball. I think they're from B&Q and some of them are from but yeah, they're great. But
yeah,
they're easy. You just go and then there's not even a little like
yes,
fabricy anything that you have
no,
to worry about. It's nice.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
do you want to cuz you have an amazing book out, right? Mhm. Get Life Organized.
yeah.
Do you want to show and tell moment?
Show and tell. So I wrote and published this last year. Can you see it there?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yay.
I'll read the tagline to you. So it's Get Life Organised. It's a work from home household management guide for business owners. But there is a bit of business in there as well.
Do you, and if you aren't a business owner, it would still be useful.
It would
Yeah.
still be useful. There's a couple of little sections in it that probably wouldn't be applicable, but mostly no, it's just if you're busy, if you're struggling to spin all your plates in life, whether you're a business owner or not, we all have such busy lives now. 21st century lifestyle expectations are not realistic.
Yeah.
So we just do what we can do. We try our best. But no, there's stuff in here that's going to help everybody, regardless of whether you're a business owner or not. Definitely.
I think, no matter what your health is or your work situation or anything else, I think we all experience that kind of overwhelm just with everything that is going on. Most people, let's be real, I can't think of anybody who only just gets up, goes to work, goes home, and sleeps. Nobody does that. We all have social lives. We may have other businesses. We have hobbies. We have friends, hopefully, unless you're a total asshole. But it's like we all have extra things.
Yeah.
Everybody does. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It's kids. It's whatever. There's always so much more. And maybe you do have that job and you're a single person and whatever, but maybe your job is very demanding, but you still have to do things around your house.
Yeah.
You know.
And I'm finding as well, more kind of my age as well. Now, I don't have my parents now, but I'm supporting people who are a part of that sandwich generation. So they've got the kids, but they're also supporting or looking after their older parents as well. And they're
Mm,
stuck right in the middle and they're still trying to hold down a job as well or a business. And it's absolute chaos and they're being pulled in all different directions. The most important thing for everybody to understand is that it won't run without you. You are the most important person in your life and you have to take care of you. And we are terrible for it. We give so much of ourselves away and we don't put that self-care into place. We don't prioritize ourselves. We think
mm,
we're superheroes because we've been told that that's what we are and we're not, because like I said about me having broad shoulders, my shoulders aren't broader than anybody else's.
mm-hmm.
I just found a few extra ways to make life work, whilst also carrying a really heavy load. But no, it's we need to take care of ourselves first and foremost before anybody else. Otherwise, we can't fulfill those responsibilities. It's a really hard one to get right. I got it wrong in the past. I'm just about getting it right now.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. And I think, again, going back, we always just improve on our processes and find those little things that work for us to make things a little easier. Because, especially now, having things a little bit easier in life, that's very helpful. We don't need anything to be harder than it already is.
No, no, it's for me, it's about looking at the whole picture, and if we can just save a little bit of time and effort and energy here and there, it all mounts up. What you'd said before about putting all the pieces together, one of the analogies I use is the jigsaw.
Mm,
So each small task that you can save time on makes up this big picture of a jigsaw puzzle that suddenly life is a lot more efficient. You've got a bit more time, you've got a bit more energy, and you're not having to constantly think about, what we're making for dinner or tea. I say dinner
mm.
or tea, it depends whether you're from the north or the south.
What?
Well, what evening meal? Well, what we're going to make for the evening meal? Imagine having to make that decision every single day, and how much time and energy that takes up, and how much you could save time and energy wise if you just put a meal plan into
Yeah,
place at the beginning of the week and make sure that you've got that food in and know what you're having each day. You've taken the decision out of it for the day. And I know not everybody wants to do a meal plan because it's like, oh, I don't want to eat that today. You've got to have a bit of a trade-off then about, well, actually, if I want to do all the things I want to do, that I have to stick to this. Or
yeah,
it's there as a guide anyway.
yeah. I don't really meal plan. I always think that would be great. I should do that. But normally I'll buy for the week and
Yeah.
then I'm like, you just eat an order of date and that's life.
I don't know. That sounds like a good plan, though.
It's,
That sounds like a great plan.
and I know lots of my fitness friends and things like that, they'll do all their meal prep for the week and they'll do like a week of breakfasts. And my breakfasts are pretty standard, right? Because like I usually just eat a bunch of vegetables, going back to my childhood veggie
Yeah.
love, and some eggs, maybe like a chicken sausage with it,
Yeah.
and a piece of toast.
Yeah.
That's about it. And so that's breakfast. Oh, and an apple. And then usually I don't eat till dinner, and then that's already said. And I shall have a salad with dinner. And usually I am pretty boring. It'll be like, here's a piece of fish or a piece of chicken or something, and maybe I'll have lentils or rice or a potato with it.
Yeah.
Boring, but it's healthy and
Oh,
it
it's
works.
healthy. It's good. It's good. I'm happy to eat the same stuff on a regular basis. I feel like our food takes up too much headspace.
Mm,
It's not, and it's different to putting a housework rota in place because, like I said, if the vacuuming doesn't get done this week, do you know what? It's that the sky's not going to fall in. Like you
right.
said, if you've got asthma, you do need to do it at some point. But like maybe
But
look
if
at
you
kind
miss
of
one week, you're like, it's not a huge deal.
yeah. But when we eat, we've got to eat every day.
Usually a couple times a day.
Every day we have to eat.
And I'll be honest, I like putting time into my food and things like that because I love to eat and I love food. So it's kind of like a no brainer. That's joyful for me. Sometimes if I'm home late, I just want something easy. I'm not against a Tesco ready meal,
No,
not at all.
they are there
And
for a reason. It's just as long
exactly,
as we're not eating them all the time and relying
exactly.
on them constantly. We've got emergency meals in the freezer.
I don't have room for a freezer. Like I've got the freezer on my fridge, right? And when I lived in Canada, I used to have a deep freeze, a little chest deep freeze, and I'd buy tons of meat at the farmer's market and put it all in there. And then I'd make like loads of like pasta sauce and like soups and all sorts of things. I don't have the room for it here. And so, it's, yeah. And so I'd like to have emergency meals like that. But usually it's like you have a batch of soup and that's it.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I love food. I love making like more intricate things. Like I if I have the time, sign me up for making like a nice meat pie that takes like 6 hours to make. And, and I want to make like the beef Wellingtons, and I want to make like all these kind of nice, comforty, delicious foods.
We have we have that a lot at the moment with the time of year now. We're
Hmm.
on kind of lamb or beef or chicken casserole on a Sunday, and I make it in a big tray. And if it's lamb or beef, I cook it over a long period of time
Yeah.
on a Sunday afternoon when it's stacked full of veg. And I
Mm.
make that much of it. We have enough for pie the day after. So Monday night is pie night. So we have it as a casserole with or like a hot pot with potatoes on the top. And
Yeah.
then that's half of it gone. And then Monday, we don't have to think about making anything because it's already done. So we just mix it all up, bang it back in the oven, and then put a puff pastry on the top. And it's
Yeah.
done. It's done. That's what we had last night. And
So
I'm like,
good.
so good. It is. And it's that hearty kind of I've fallen out with salads. I've fallen out with them.
I eat less salad in the winter, but like
Yeah.
I love my salad. Like,
Yeah.
give me those greens, baby. Oh yeah.
I'm definitely kind of more root vegetables, carrots, swedes, that
Mm.
sort of thing. And I could just eat a plate of that, no
Oh
problem
yeah.
at all.
And if you're in North America, a Swede is a rutabaga.
All
And
right, okay.
just like aubergine is an eggplant,
Yeah.
coriander is cilantro. What's the other one? There's one more that I'm always. Oh, courgette is a zucchini.
Oh
Okay,
yes,
we're all
yes.
caught up.
Yeah.
My breakfast is usually like asparagus and like tender stem broccoli and I might top it with artichokes and tomatoes and olives. And yeah, it doesn't sound very breakfasty, but God, it's so good.
Listen, what is a breakfast?
But this is the
The
thing.
breakfast can be whatever you want it to be. I do think that Mr. Kellogg's had a very good kind of marketing
Marketing.
campaign, didn't they? And I'm the only one here that doesn't eat cereal for breakfast.
You know when I'll eat like a bowl of Frosties right before bed.
I love crunching up cornflakes for supper if I'm still a bit hungry.
I'm
Absolutely,
not hungry. It's just
yeah,
like I want something sweet and yummy. And so yeah,
yeah,
sometimes we'll sit down and eat a little bowl of Frosties. Oops. But
it's good.
it's since I was a kid too. Oh, we have leftover steak and baked potatoes. Great. Breakfast sorted. Like
Yeah,
so good.
we don't
But
need to eat this whatever breakfast food, whatever that is. We don't. For me, I have to have some protein.
yeah.
So I was on eggs every morning for a while. I've swapped that out for the moment, and I'm now on mackerel
Oh yeah.
every morning. At the moment, I'm trying to swap it up, but I kind of keep going back to it, and then I'll fall out of favor with that for a while. I'll probably go back onto eggs at some point.
Yeah, because usually, like, one of my things to keep my mental health going is my morning workouts, which I'm not gonna lie, this morning I did my doggy walk, but I skipped my workout because
Yeah,
I needed extra sleep this morning. But that's my one thing though. I need some kind of movement and exercise in the morning. And I usually, before I do anything, have an hour to an hour and a half of exercise before I do anything. But that is really why I'm like, yeah, same. I need a lot of protein in the morning because I need to be fueled and powerful after the workout and the rest of the day.
yeah, yeah. I'm gone through menopause now, so I'm kind of postmenopausal now, and I did find some massive changes happened whilst I was going through all of
Mm.
that. So for me now, it's protein, absolutely. And if I don't have that for breakfast, I'm kind of by lunchtime, I'm on the floor. I can't function. My brain's gone
Yeah.
away somewhere. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really know what day it is, so I really do need to make sure that whatever I'm eating in the morning is protein based for me. I say I'm not a nutritionist at all. I just know what works for me.
Yeah.
I would love to eat porridge and I just can't tolerate it. But I love it, but my body doesn't love it.
Yeah.
It's
Then
a
it's
bit
not worth it.
frustrating.
That is
Yeah.
frustrating, but it's not worth it then. I always say that there are 7 billion diets in the world for 7 billion different people.
Yeah.
And I mean, then like it or not, that's just life. Some of us can eat some things that other people can't. And, you can't say that a vegan diet or a Mediterranean diet or vegetarian or pescatarian or gluten free or whatever, it's not cookie cutter for one single, you can't put it for everybody, right? All we can say is, yeah, maybe try and eat the not as much processed food. That would be a good diet for everybody. But
Yeah.
it's still, I still eat processed food. I just mentioned my Frosties, duh.
Yep.
So
As long
I
as
think,
we're reducing them, it's good.
yeah,
It's good. But there's
exactly.
so many. I did read a book last year about processed foods, and it was very scary, and it's actually changed the way that I look at food massively.
Mm,
About what they have done to our food. It's not good. It's
no.
not good at all. So, and I feel better for changing lots in my diet. I still eat some processed food, definitely. As long as we're improving, as long as we're
Yeah.
aware, I think being aware of what's in our food is kind of a massive part of it. And but it's hard when you're busy. You're busy whether you've got one child or more, or
Mm-hmm.
you haven't got kids. We are all busy, and we're up against it because if we're busy and if we're working to a budget, processed food is there. It's cheaper and it's easy to cook and it's easy to eat. Who
Yeah.
wouldn't want that? But really, what's in it isn't great.
The payoff or the trade off is not,
Yeah, I'd rather be healthier and functioning better and
yeah.
taking more time over prepping my food than kind of reaching for, like I said, we'll keep a couple of meals in the freezer as emergencies, but that's what they are. They don't kind of they don't get used that often. And
Yeah.
then it's just on the off chance where we're just like we're exhausted. Or we will get a takeaway.
Yeah.
It's like it's one of those nights. It's like we are so tired. Nobody's got anything out for tea, and we're just right. What's gonna serve us best this evening? Is it gonna be going and spending 30 to 40 minutes on our feet cooking a meal, or are we just gonna make a phone call?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just make
It's
the
like,
phone call and go and
I,
collect your food.
yeah. Well, the other day I got home really, really late. Like it was like after midnight or it was just before midnight. And I was like, I'm just not doing this. I was like, we are going to drive to McDonald's. We are going to get a thing. And so we did because it was just too much after a very, very long day. And then not to mention then the other day I like ran out of all the food in my house, but that's a different story.
Okay, it happens.
And so, I don't know. We adapt though, and we make everything work for ourselves and our situation, and it can just change day to day.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just I'm a massive advocate for having the plans in place, meal plans, housework rotas, all of that. But sometimes you just have those days when everything just falls apart and you're just like, it's not happening. It's not happening. And that's life and we're human and it's okay.
We're human people,
We're
remember?
human people.
It's true.
Yeah.
And I think just accepting it too. And when we do have those days, just not don't let you can't let it get you so much, right?
I know. I know. I felt guilty some days for getting a takeaway, not just for like, oh, we're not eating well, but how much money have we just spent on one meal?
Yeah.
And it's getting over that, and it's then puts me in a better kind of frame of mind then to go, right, I need to go back to the meal plan. I need to make sure, because we do kind of, we fall by the wayside every now and again. It's not, I don't run it perfectly. I know what to do. This is, I mean, great. I'm the hairdresser that cuts everybody else's hair and not my own. You know,
Yeah.
I know how to kind of, help other people, and I need to listen to my own advice sometimes, and I don't always do it. But I think we're all guilty of that anyway.
Exactly. Us human people.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
if somebody wants to get started on like organizing their life,
hmm
what kind of tips would you give them just to get started?
I've actually got 3 points that I make in my book. But they're not tips so much. They're just three big things to remember. Put some boundaries in place. Learn to say no. Boundaries in place, like I mentioned, where, boundaries with your own time, boundaries with yourself are the most important ones. But when other people ask for your time as well, you make that decision there. Are you going to spend your time and energy, helping others, or do you need to do something for yourself? So boundaries are vital when it comes to managing your own time and energy and organizing your life. And then anything that you can do in advance, any planning that you can do in advance is going to save you time further down the line. So like I said, meal plan, housework rota, something for business, put your strategy together so you're not winging it every single day. For me, every kind of moment that I spend planning in advance, I know that future Nick is going to thank me for doing that task.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that your future self is going to thank you for putting those foundations in place and putting those in that plan, strategy, whatever it is into place, I would say get that done. The downside to that is a lot of people don't want to spend that time at the beginning because it can be a bit time consuming. They just want to get on with the work. And it's like, no, put your plan into place first, structure it out, plan it out, whatever it is, even if it's something small, just take a breath before you do that work. And that's good. It'll serve you. Your plan will serve you in the future. And the final thing, and most important of all, is look after yourself. Self-care. Weave it into your life. Ring fence your time. Make that the first thing that you put into your calendar. Don't try and fit yourself time around everything else. Put your self-care, not self-time. Well, it's self-time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm losing my words there. Put your self-care into your diary first, and then everything else fits around that, because you are the most important person in your life. If you're not looking after yourself, nothing else is happening at all. Those three things are the kind of the fundamentals of kind of getting your life organized. Without those, there's no point in you starting. So you need to focus on those first.
Can we find your book on Amazon?
Yep, it's on Amazon. It's just, if you just type in "Get Life Organized" and it will be there.
Yay.
I kept it simple so it's easy to find. And it's an easy read, apparently. It's an easy read, and some of the reviews have said, "Oh, it's just like you're talking to me in a conversation. It's not heavy reading, and
I like that.
and you can dip in and out of the chapters. You don't have to read it in order. You can go, all right, I'll go to that chapter. I'll go to the chapter on self-care. I'll go to the section on delegation. I'll go, there's all different parts, and you can just dip in and out and refer back to it.
Okay, that makes sense. I like that too, because then you can get exactly what you need in the moment that you need it.
Yeah, and I'd encourage you, like, write in it, put post-its in it, and use it. If it's well used, then it's it's doing its job. I don't want it sat there on the shelf collecting dust.
No, I need to get a copy. That's going to be next on my wish list. If people are going to find you online, or if they want to get in touch and work with you, where can they go?
Okay, I'm all over the socials.
Mm.
I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm on Facebook, Nick Davies, myself. On my page is Platespinning Academy with Nick Davies. And I've got a group from that page as well that you can join. And on Instagram as well, Platespinning Academy. That's it. I'm on LinkedIn, but I'm getting used to it.
No, that's good. I'm on LinkedIn, but
Yeah.
I'm not super active on there.
Yeah. And I will have a podcast shortly as well.
Yes, because your podcast comes out probably
next
week. So the
next
week that this comes out.
Is it? Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So the Monday the 9th of December, my podcast launches.
And that is the air date of this episode.
Okay. Right. So after you've listened to this, hop over and listen to mine.
So we're going to put links for everything to find Nick, to find her book, to do all the good stuff. And just check her out, because as you can tell, she's one incredible, inspiring woman. And I'm really lucky that you are my friend, Nick.
Oh, I'm so happy that we're in each other's worlds. It's fantastic.
See?
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
All the time. Thank you so much for being here. And I can't wait now. I'm going to get ready to go listen to your podcast. Thank you
Yeah.
so much again.
Okay. Thanks, Ash.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.